Good evening, Hazel. A lot of excitement here in the Crucible Theatre.
Thank you. Frame 17. John Higgins to break.
Just wondering if Ronnie O'Sullivan can make that comeback, but he's up against one of the best in the business. So John Higgins gets the session underway with not the best break-off that he's ever played. And he's left a red to the middle pocket, I think. It must be tight, but he needs a good start, does Ronnie. Couldn't pot it. Got the double. Couldn't pot it in the right middle pocket. But it was more of a safety shot there.
Yes, he held his hand up there to apologise, and I'm sure he wishes he hadn't gone in, but he's put a relatively good effort at the snooker. The amazing point in this match is how well Ronnie has scored. He's made 7 breaks over 50 in this match, and another couple over 40, and he's only won 5 frames. And the key was the last session of the match, where Ronnie made breaks of 58 and 61 in the last 3 frames and lost both frames. John Higgins played excellent snooker this afternoon.
But Ronnie was on the practice table before this session. More of a safety shot he was playing. Just enough room to knock this red in, and he may get around the back of the black and red.
One.
And that's okay if it pulls up. Well, it seemed to just keep going, that white. He's got to pot the yellow. He's got to go twice across the table, and he can drop him one of those reds near the black. This is excellent. Black doesn't go into the same pocket, but he can get down for the blue off this one. Oh, well, he's nudged the black. Would only go in the right corner. If he gets a little cannon here on the red to the left of the bunch, and he's playing it left-handed. And he's missed the cannon, so it's end of break.
11. Ronnie O'Sullivan, 11.
That's the kind of pots John Higgins has been knocking in all this match. The first session was shared at 4-4 after John Higgins had led 3-1, and I honestly thought that he might have missed his chance when it finished 4-4, but since then he's certainly been the aggressor.
Got an angle to screw up and possibly leave that red near the black. He could do it without using a cushion, but he's still going to get somewhere near the end of the line.
Absolutely perfect. Absolutely perfect. Same result. Dennis drew off the cushion. Some players like to use the cushion to come into that kind of position. John Higgins decided to screw it direct, but it was the same result. And this is a great chance. The balls are perfect.
6.
Both players have been, well, look at the pot success rate. John Higgins 92%, Ronnie O'Sullivan 91%, and he's 11-5 behind.
I think because of that point, Dennis, I think you had a little agree to disagree with John Virgo on the safety success. And I think the next one actually proves your point. Yes, Dennis was suggesting if it was a tactical battle that John Higgins would win. There you see he's at 90% and Ronnie's at 85. That's a bad miss from John Higgins, and of course doesn't want to let Ronnie get on a run of 2 or 3 frames on the trot, otherwise things could get a little bit shaky, as they have done once before in the Crucible today.
Eight. Nine. Sixteen. 17.
'If anything, this table
24.
seems to be getting quicker. It really is playing beautifully.
25.
Quick look at the scoreboard. A lot of balls to be potted yet.
$32. 33.
Doesn't have to play the cannon this time. He's 39 in front. 46. He needs a couple of the reds. So he's going to have to get a cannon off the black
40.
after he pots this red to secure this opening frame of this session.
41.
A frame that he had to win, really. So this is the key to taking the frame.
Yes, purposely left himself low on the black. There was no plants available to the middle, and that's why he's left himself low to go into them. And needed a good kiss, and he hasn't got one.
48.
I'm just wondering, he's knocked the reds, if there's a possibility of a plant. I don't think so. No, way to the left of the pocket.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 48.
We've had all sorts of famous people watching at the Crucible over the years, and there's 2 more. 2 of the lads from G4, John and Ben, and I've got one of their discs in the car, actually. I've yet to have a number 1 like me and you, Dennis, and a number 5. Snooker Loopy number 5 and the Proclaimers number 1. Well, applause that safety shot. I wonder if they bought Snooker Loopy when they were about 5 or 6. This is dangerous. He knew that he'd have to catch one of them thin, and in fairness, I think covering the one by the blue, but I don't think he's covered the one by the yellow.
John had a quick look round at the scoreboard to see how many points he could play with. He's got to get up to the high valued colours.
One.
Now the only problem, he didn't really want to be on the black, because the black ties up the red and black. So he played for blue or pink there. He might still be able to take the blue. No value in taking the black because he's going to tie it up next to the red there. That's just to the right of the black spot. But he may have to take it, really. No, he's going to take the blue. So he did this on 2 or 3 occasions in the last session where he needed to clear up, and he did. And that's a very good shot from John Higgins. I think Steve Davis and John Parrott were saying it could quite easily have been 9-7. And it would have been if this man hadn't have cleared up in a couple of frames to pinch them.
Yes, I'm just looking at the run of frames. John Higgins won 7 out of the last 8 games, but during those games, Ronnie O'Sullivan's had breaks of 45, 75, 58, 61 and 48, and then he won 1 frame. Well, he's just lost the cue ball slightly there, and this makes this A, the pot difficult, and B, the position, because he doesn't really want to put any side on this. He wants to play a plain ball and try and get out for pink or black.
Well, that's not a bad kiss. He's got a half ball black, he's got a half ball pink. The pink looks easier to get in behind that last red. Be screwing over towards the middle pocket there. Don't think he can cannon the red, he'll be screwing in behind it. And he's just overdone it slightly. A change of plan now.
20.
But where the balls are now situated, it's anyone's frame. But he needs a red and a black and all the colours to pinch the frame by 1 point. He may take it on. He's looking at the potting angle. No, he's decided it's too difficult.
John Higgins, 20.
Not the best shot that John has ever played.
Ronnie was almost bemused there when he was looking at the scoreboard. He's probably wondering why John didn't take the risk of the red. It would have been obviously a frame winner or a frame loser.
Foul.
That's one of the situations, Dennis, where it doesn't make any difference as far as one is concerned.
Yeah, it's one of those rare situations where you play a foul shot, but you gain an advantage from it, because now John Higgins needs a snooker. But there's a good chance he can get that snooker.
Yes, one would have to say that John Higgins, I think, has now become the best all-round player in the game, taking over the mantle from Steve Davis. Be interesting to see if he does get his desired snooker. It was a good chance there. Had 3 snookering balls to get behind and didn't manage to do it that time.
But the balls are not perfectly placed for John Higgins to get a snooker. You always want a colour or 2 colours near a cushion. It's much easier to get that snooker. Well, he's got the snooker. He snookered himself. Fluked the yellow. He should be able to swerve around the pink here. But now he's got to get the green safe.
Yes, he was very, very unlucky there. If bar the yellow going anywhere near the middle, he would have definitely got the snooker that time.
John Higgins, 2.
Still not a good chance for the snooker. It's a delicate little one if he's going to try and get in behind the blue. I'm just wondering if he's going to pot the green here. Could do that and then look for the snooker. That was an awkward shot he tried there. He's played a couple of shots, John. Although he's got this 11-5 lead, he's played a couple of little edgy shots here and just overhit them. Well, if John Higgins somehow gets a snooker and wins this frame, I think Ronnie will give up, because 12-5, you could forget about it. This is a chance. It's a snooker. It should be easy to hit. He's been all over the place with his cue ball in this opening frame, John. And that's the end of this frame and the beginning of the comeback.
Seven. 12.
It was the earlier break of 48 that paved the way for Ronnie O'Sullivan to take the frame. John Higgins did have a chance, but he didn't manage it this time. Could this be the start of the comeback? It's 11-6.
Thank you. Frame 18, Ronnie O'Sullivan's break.
Nice link, Hazel. Like that. John Higgins is obviously been there, done it and got the T-shirt. He's very experienced in this kind of match play situation, possibly the best match player in the game at the moment. But he knows that if he actually lost the next couple of frames, O'Sullivan could get a real charge on, and I thought he did that safety shot bad, but it's okay. I thought he was going to catch the second red. As he left a tempter for Ronnie O'Sullivan. If the black's potable, he will take it on. If not, he'll play the one down the left-hand side and come up for blue or bought colour. He will play at the pot.
One.
Excellently played, perfect on blue or bought colour. Until he gets black or pink into play. Not a great chance, but you know Ronnie O'Sullivan, he doesn't waste any time in getting those into play.
Six.
That's a real confidence booster.
7.
And we know that Ronnie quite quickly reel off 2 or 3 frames. And he's played that perfectly.
14.
2 reds to the right of the black he'll be already thinking about. In fact, he's coming around to see if he can leave the white in such a way he could pot the black and cannon the second of the reds. That would open both of them up.
Yes, I mentioned it wouldn't take Ronnie long to get the black into play.
15.
It took him 2 shots. Just loves to win a frame at one visit if he can.
There's the little cannon I thought he would leave himself on, and I think he's perfect. Well, he cannoned the other one just as well.
Yes, it was key to leave an angle on this red, and he's played it perfectly. If he was straight, of course,
22.
the black's not available into the right-hand corner, only the left, so he had to make sure the red came on and off the cushion. There you see the angle. There you see how easy it was to play. He'll get rid of the red next to the black now, and this is a frame-winning chance now.
$30. 31.
Unusual for O'Sullivan. He put a little bit of unwanted
38.
side on there. That's why the cue ball's gone a little wider than he wanted. Played for the one at the back of the bunch, but he's got the alternative, the one in the middle.
39. $46. 47. $54. 55.
Wow, this is terrific stuff. What a start to this
62.
evening session.
63.
He won't go into the reds. John knows that the 2 loose reds would be enough to give Ronnie this frame. Well, he's gone into them anyway, but he may not be on one. And
70.
there's the difference. 70 was 75 on the table. There was 2 loose reds, so Ronnie deciding to risk the cannon, and now he wishes he hadn't.
I didn't hear him say touching. If it was touching, Dennis, this would be a good idea to put the black safe, wasn't it? Because he can play straight into the black with it being touching, but obviously it can't be touching.
Yeah, he's now looking at the possibility of a plant here, and this would give him the frame.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 70.
It couldn't happen again, could it? Ronnie O'Sullivan, 70 points ahead, a break of 70.
Did exactly the same thing, Dennis, didn't he, in frame 16, where he made a 61
One.
and went for a green that was missable. Higgins cleared with 62. Why would he play a plant there, I wonder? It was an easy safety shot.
$8.
The only reason I can think that Ronnie cannoned into the 4 reds there was he had a chance to beat the high break, because he only needed another red. And there's 2 loose reds he could have got on quite easily. So had he got that high break in his mind?
Okay. 9. $16.
Well, it's all about that last red, isn't it, as far as John Higgins is concerned.
17. $24.
I'm just wondering, Dennis, do you think he'll have to move that red over near the middle pocket, or can he drop behind it and drop it in? He's 46 behind, so he's got a few points to play with. If he gets 2 reds, 2 blacks, he can certainly play the blue off that last
25.
red.
Yes, I think that's exactly what John Higgins has worked out. If he keeps taking the blacks, then he can drop in behind that red, and it's an acute angle, but if he's right in behind it, he'll be able to pot it in the middle pocket.
John Higgins, 25.
Well, John puts his hand in the pocket, pulls the balls out. Has a couple of shots like that he's missed. So Ronnie O'Sullivan, that break of 70, did give him the frame, and he's pulled another one back. It's now 11-7. Well, Ronnie will be relieved there that John didn't go on to pinch the frame, because there was one situation there, Willie, where I think Ronnie must have been just thinking about maybe there was a possible 1-4-5 break on, and he needed to secure the frame first of all. This was the position he had. He had 2 loose reds. I suppose he could have rolled the black in, left an easy red to the middle, but I think he must have had the high break on his mind there.
Yes, he seems very, aware of the high break situation. The break at the minute, of course, is 1-4-4. This is what he did, actually. Rather than roll through to make sure of the frame, he thought, well, I can't miss this, and I'll be very unlucky not to get onto a red. Let's get into them.
And he was very unlucky not to leave something easier, and then took the tricky little plant on. But anyway, that's another one back for Ronnie O'Sullivan.
John Higgins coming to the table.
Frame 19.
He won't be worrying
John
yet,
Higgins
but he'd like to win at least 1 frame before the interval to make it no worse than 12-8. Goes without saying, he'd like to win the 2 before the interval to win the match, but it's key now to stop the mini rot, as it were. One of these next 2 frames is a must, otherwise O'Sullivan will feel he can win the game.
Oh, the white's close. But he's come here for a battle, you can tell. He's not taking any undue risks, Ronnie. He had a chance of a pot. It was very risky. He played the safety shot. He hasn't given up by any means. No matter how many you're behind, you always felt as long as your opponent needs 2 frames, you're in with a shot. I think John Parrott in the studio summed it up. John would just like to get to 12 and then he could relax a bit, but you just sense there's a little bit more snooker to be played here this evening.
this red is potable, and with enough side on he can get around the back of the black. He's got to make sure he doesn't get it too thin though, because it could career into the black. He has made sure he swung the white around the back of that.
There's not a lot available there, is there, Hawkeye? Just showing you what John Higgins is looking at. Nowhere back down the table. And he's just playing a delicate little shot to land on that red near the middle pocket. That's nearer the pocket than the red.
Foul and a miss.
Ronnie might not take
for.
the miss here because he's got a red up into the corner. He can get back nicely onto the blue. Okay, the black's tied up a little bit. It's a bit of a chance here.
One.
Great pot, but hasn't got the right side of the blue. Luckily for Ronnie, he's got a red that's just far in. You will see the red. You see, he didn't get into the cue ball. He's just got an outside red there, the one to the right of the pink that will pot. There you can see that he's just virtually absolutely straight. Now the black's not available, I don't think, so he's going to. The pink probably is. So he needs an angle on this red. Can he get one?
6. Seven.
Well, that positional shot was stunning, believe it or not. Okay, it was a little stun shot, but that was such a difficult shot. To judge that, to come back and just miss the red. And look at this, he can bring the black into play with that one shot he's played there. It was superb.
30.
I mean, it all looks so easy, but just watch this. Little cannon, and look at the position he's left
40.
himself with.
$21.
If Ronnie does come to make any sort of comeback,
29.
the thing is, it doesn't takes precious little out of him because of the time he spends at the table. As we know, he can score 100 points in around 4 or 5 minutes. If they're scrappy frames, safety battles, it takes a lot more out of you than just making a 70-odd break. So far, he's had, oh, what a horrible kick. What a horrible kick.
Ronnie O'Sullivan,
Just
29.
when he got the balls in a nice position.
Yeah, he didn't quite get on the red as he intended. He wanted to be on that other red to roll it in for the black, but you're not entitled to get a heavy contact like that. And how costly could that be? That has stopped Ronnie right in his tracks, and it's not his fault.
One.
Can John Higgins settle down? Because this evening he's missed a couple of easy ones.
Needs a cue ball to travel another 3 or 4 inches to be perfect,
6.
and I don't think it has. He played to get on the one directly above the black, and he's not on that one. The one pot's just to the left of the black, but it's a very thin clip, and he can only play for brown, yellow or blue from this.
Seven.
He's got a little bit of angle to work with here. You can see where he's putting his hand. It's not in the pocket, so that tells you he's got a slight angle. And that's just about perfect. This is turning into quite a good chance for John
12.
Higgins. A non-expected chance, it has to be said.
$13.
Yes, and this red is quite easily available, and
20.
it just needs one little cannon, or get rid of the red that's to the left of the pink. That will open other reds.
21.
He needs to hold himself together here, John, because he hasn't made a 30-plus break at all this evening yet, and you never settle till you get a few points on the board, get a bit of confidence in your cueing action, make sure it's still there from what it was today. There's the cannon, but it's gone wrong. Played the cannon full ball and kissed it half ball. If he kisses it full ball, he's on both those reds, look, that are
28.
available into the same pocket as the black. Half ball, he's nowhere.
The first time these two players met in the World Championship, 1996, it was Ronnie who won on the deciding frame, 13-12. They've played twice more.
John Higgins,
of course,
28.
beating Ronnie in the semi-final in 1998 when he won it here. That was 17-9, and the other time they met, 2001, in the final, it was 18-14 to Ronnie. So they have given us so much pleasure here at the Crucible Theatre, and what's in store for us this evening?
I think Ronnie would now have forgotten about the kick, because I'm sure he would have thought that John Higgins would have got more than the 28 that he did. Where's the red going? He needs the green to come to his rescue here. That's a poor shot. That's unlike O'Sullivan.
One.
Yeah, good shot. It was difficult to hold for the blue because of the thin contact needed to pot that red. Just on and off the top cushion to leave a red into the opposite corner.
Eight.
So a second chance for John Higgins.
Nine.
That little triangle of reds are all covering each other, so we will have to go into those at some stage. Well, he could have played that one a little bit better. He played to leave the red in the middle pocket, but it's
16.
not straight. If it had been straight, he could have played for the black again. Taking it in the corner, and is it there? It is.
17.
And that's very good from John Higgins. You don't mind losing a frame if you play a bad shot, but if you get a bad contact like the one Ronnie had, it really is very annoying.
25.
Because it wasn't his fault. He was in the balls, he looked to be in terrific form, he's just cutting the red back, and you could see it straighten up.
$31. $32.
Just red and colour. And Ronnie O'Sullivan, if he'd have won this frame, it may have made John Higgins worry about a possible fight back. The fact that he's now got to 12, he'll be relaxed, because he'll know in the next possible 6 frames he'd have at least one chance to make a 70 or above.
39. $45. 46. 53. 55.
Well, one more look at the misfortune and the heavy contact and
58.
the end of the comeback. But he did take them very well, did John Higgins.
58 in the frame.
Okay, Ronnie O'Sullivan was unlucky with the kick, but John Higgins took that chance, and with a break of 58, he puts himself 12-7 in front. He only needs one more for a place in the semi-final.
Thank you. Frame 20. Ronnie O'Sullivan to rake.
Yes, it's key to get to the interval, isn't it? So Ronnie at least knows he's won that mini session 3-1. So if he did win this frame, that gives him some sort of chance. Obviously, you know, he wouldn't really get excited unless he got to at least about 12-10. So you need three frames before Ronnie realises he can win. Similar situation to they've been saying in the studio about Sean Murphy. He wasn't aware that he could win until he got to 12-11. Then he thought, oh, I can win this match.
That's a pretty good safety shot. The red to the left. There's no value in that because the black is tied up, the pink is tied up. Just a safety, just past the pink to snick the red. That looks quite tight. Ronnie's having a good long hard look at it because the blue and the pink are slightly in the way. Now, what sort of angle has he got on this red here? Terrific. Terrific pot. Well, you just can't hit the ball any better than that. And there, Stephen Maguire is waiting in the semi-final, and it's odds on that he's going to be up again a fellow Scot.
Yes, and whatever happens, we've got 2 Scots in the semi-final and definitely 2 Englishmen in the semi-final if it does come that John Higgins wins. So we're going to have an England-Scotland final, whatever happens, and they're always very special in any sport that they 2 countries meet.
Five. Six.
He was relying a little bit on good fortune there. He wasn't playing for the pink. He was trying to screw off the edge of the bunch and try and get up for blue or bought colour. He's trying to get into them there and screw and bring everything into play. It didn't work for him.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 6.
This is not a straightforward safety shot. He looks like he's playing the one next to the blue, but he can't hide behind any bought colour there, so he's probably trying to get the white at a similar position to what it is now. It's not all about snookering behind bought colours, it's about getting the good length of cue ball.
It's another long pot from Ronnie O'Sullivan, and that was his downfall, believe it or not. At the start of this match, he was missing quite a few long pots. But this evening, he's knocked in a few absolute crackers. There's Ronnie down at 57% long pot success, with John Higgins at 83%. But this evening, he's knocked a few crackers in.
4.
Straight the way down onto the business end, and after 2 shots he's in and around the black spot area where he loves to be. tournament long pots are still not great.
11.
That's something he's usually very proficient at, as we saw with that opening red, which was a cracking red.
12. $19. 20.
Well, there is a possibility we may have a mid-session interval here. There's 4 loose reds, there's 4 reds tied up behind the pink. Putting the white in such a position
27.
where he was leaving himself a choice of reds. You get one in this right corner, there would be one in the left corner, the red in the middle pocket, so he played into an area there that was going to give himself a choice of 3 reds.
28.
Obviously the pink pots, it doesn't look like it from here, does it? But obviously it does. He could do with it not going on its spot, really. Yes, he doesn't mind that being out of the way at the moment, because he knows that it'll help the red split a little bit easier with the pink not being there.
35.
Oh, he needs that to bounce. He's not guaranteed to catch the outside of this. He's going to really have to get into the cue ball.
Yeah, if he just catches the end of that red, he'd be okay.
That was made to look so simple, and honestly, that was a really tough shot. He had to really get into the cue ball there, and he actually hit the red too full, amazingly enough. But it's okay, he's got one in the middle.
43.
That little smile from Ronnie, that wasn't the best cannon on the blue. Just as he was about to clinch the frame, the white comes up. If he hits the blue half ball, full ball, he's got a straightforward red. Now he's got to play, well, I don't know if this cuts into the left corner. Be a bit of safety in mind also here. It's there. No, it's not.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 45.
Guys in the studio were saying that you need a bit of help from your opponent and bar the kick, and maybe, you know, he's only 2 shots away really of winning all 4 frames, isn't he? You know, he could have certainly won the first 3. He's certainly favourite to win this one. So it just shows you that if you feel you can win and play confidently, you can get back into matches.
See, you can't see enough of that red brown in the way, and the one there from behind, it doesn't look too bad, but it's a very difficult one, that indeed. If you look at it from this end of the table, it's quite a tough pot, but he's having a go at it by the looks of things. Now where's the red going? It's cannon the brown. The last shot that John took on, he knew he wasn't going to leave anything easy for Ronnie, but didn't anticipate the red going back up and cannoning off the brown.
One.
52 the difference, so the pink and one more red would take us to a mid-session interval. He's not going to snooker himself again on this red. This time he cannons the blue perfectly.
Just to be doubly sure, of course, one more red, because the blue will put him where John Higgins needs 2 snookers. The red will leave John Higgins in his chair. We know that John Higgins will carry on should Ronnie not pot one more red. And he's not guaranteed to pot one more red now.
13.
That's amazing where the white is finished. It's covered both reds. Absolutely amazing.
Ronnie O'Sullivan.
This is a clever shot. Just look where this is going to finish if it lands. Well, that's squared up off the cushion. I can't believe that. The angle it was going on the cushion, it was bound to go behind the green. That was incredible how that squared up off the cushion. Even if he plays the pot here, he can get round the back of the black, but can he miss the red on the left-hand side? Yeah, didn't even play the pot, made sure of the safety. Well played, and an excellent safety shot as well.
Yeah, John Higgins just tapping the table in acknowledgement of a very fine safety shot there. I remember watching Ronnie, that's some years ago now, playing Mark Williams in the final of the Grand Prix, and 2 great break builders and potters like that, and they played some of the finest safety you could ever wish to see.
1.
Well, that means we're now definitely going to the interval, and this Crucible crowd, could it happen twice in one day? Somebody come back from 12-7 behind? John Higgins concedes, so Ronnie O'Sullivan's got to the mid-session interval. That was his first task. His second task is to win the next 2 after the interval to stay in the match, but he still trails going into the interval at 12 frames to 8.
Touching ball.
Thank you, Hazel. You haven't missed very much. This is the first chance at a pot. And it's a pretty good one. 5 scheduled frames to be played. Ronnie O'Sullivan needs to win all 5 to get through to the semi-final. Is he going to go into the reds here? Of course he is. And he's unlucky again. He just caught the pink first of all, but
5.
bit unfortunate to finish like this.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 5.
Yeah, you need a little bit of good luck when you're playing this game, and he certainly didn't get any there. If he misses the pink and hits the reds, it would have been better, but even catching the pink, he still should have finished with some sort of pot on.
Yes, it's so amazing how aggressive Ronnie is in the break building department. He had 2 loose reds he could have played for then, but as himself and Stephen Hendry, 2 of the, well, without doubt, the best break builders of all time, they don't waste any time at all in getting balls into open play, and a lot of players should take note of that. They would score a lot more heavily if they took a leaf out of their book. Slightly thinner than he wanted. He actually tried to get that a little bit thicker, so it would have been coming into the baulk cushion and probably staying near it. The fact that it's bounced on and off the cushion has left Ronnie the slightly easier safety shot. He's got to be careful. He's going to push the red over the corner here. The one above the black could go right over the corner if he's not careful. That's why he played it very fine indeed. In actual fact, a little bit too fine.
It's amazing, you never get 2 frames of snooker that's identical. Look at the way the balls are situated this time. Look at them. A couple of little patterns around the black spot area and then the pink spot area. I've only spotted something on the white.
Once again, the first aggressive safety shot comes from Ronnie O'Sullivan. Brings the black into play and gets an excellent white.
Foul on the miss. Ronnie O'Sullivan, 4.
Yeah, he needed a finish contact.
Almost.
It's more or less finished up exactly where it was, so Ronnie just asking John to play from there. It saves the referee having to find the spot it was in. Yeah, you mentioned, Willie, about the 2 greatest break builders in the game, and John Higgins and Ronnie O'Sullivan. John is 3rd, actually. He's made 349 centuries in his career. Ronnie's sitting at number 2 with 479. And who's sitting at number 4? Well, he's in the studio, Steve Davis, 211 career centuries. In fact, it was 311. I beg your pardon. So it's amazing the number of players that never even get to a century of centuries in their career.
And when you consider Stephen Hendry's made over 700, it just shows you what a the ultimate breaking machine he is, really, because you know, but the reason I mentioned breaking the pack earlier, because that's what you've got to do to score heavily. You've got to give yourself chances. Yes, as you rightly say, Dennis, I think there's only about 20 odd players that have made over 100 centuries.
Safety success rate is evened up again. And there is some very good safety being played at the moment. John Higgins just tapping the table there. Now he's got to be careful with this one. If he plays lots of side to clip off this red, got to get this one just right. The side stopped him from careering into the reds there, and he played that perfectly. Another great shot, which has developed the black a little bit, but just can get past the yellow to snick the red and get back up the table.
Ronnie would have been tempted at the two reds just the right of the black if the cue ball had been a little bit more in open play. The fact that it's near the cushion, he'll be playing safe. A few moments ago saying we have a series of excellent safety shots. There's another one. Okay, he may have not been playing in behind the yellow, but he'd have certainly been playing on that line to be on the cushion or in behind the yellow, and this is tough to hit.
I think that's where he's heading to. He wants to get over to those reds. I don't know whether he can manage it. It's a little bit too narrow. I think he's left one up here.
Foul on the
That was
miss. Ronnie
a bad misjudgment from John there, but he was in a difficult situation.
Well, he can play it for the pink here, and this is a chance, isn't it? You can see the next 6 reds and colours. Goes without saying, the hard part comes with the 7 on the cushion, but Ronnie will get on the half-ball black at some stage and be able to go into those. He'll just concentrate on the pink for a few minutes just to clear the path with a possible angle on the black. If he won the next 2 frames, Ronnie O'Sullivan, it could be very precarious times for John Higgins, because he'd start to, you know, doubt himself a little bit, but still not needed to worry just yet.
8. $14. 15. 22. 23.
I really like Ronnie's attitude here this evening. As I mentioned earlier, he was in the practice room before the match started, 11-5 down, so that showed you that he was far from out of it.
29.
Still thought he had a chance. Okay, he's got a lot to do, but
30.
He's remained focused.
He will have to play for an angle now if he wishes on the black. He'll probably leave the red on the middle pocket where it is, because if he gets a bad kiss off the reds when going into them, just having a look whether the plant's on. If the plant's on, he won't go into them. But if the plant's not on, he'll leave an angle on the black to go into the reds, knowing that the red's over the middle pocket, just in case he doesn't get a nice kiss. We'll know by this shot whether he thinks the plant's on.
38.
Well, he has the choice. If the plant's on, he'll play for it. If not, he can move it. Well, it needs to be made. I think I'd rather move a few reds into play here. He's playing the plant, though. Got to be a little careful here. Not guaranteed, this one.
45. 46.
Ronnie just checking the scoreboard to see if he can win the frame with 2 reds and 2 blacks. That would be another 16 points, which would put him 75 in front. So the answer is yes, he can win with the 2 potable reds and colours. So he might decide to go up for the one on the middle pocket first. For that reason, because he wasn't guaranteed to get position on the black from the red this end.
53. 54.
He had a quick glance at the scoreboard on the way around, and he's having another glance. He knows that this
61.
red is more or less securing this frame. And look at that for his shot. You won't see any better a positional shot than that. And he really had to go into that. The frame was safe, but still it was a superb shot.
69. 70. 77. 78. 85. 86.
Ronnie's highest break in this match has been a break of 89, this coming just at the right time. Another exhibition type positional shot. Watch the white. Have a look at this. Have a look at this shot. What a little beauty that
is. 93. Ronnie O'Sullivan, 93.
What a shame, but what a superb effort from Ronnie O'Sullivan. He keeps himself in this match. That was a magnificent 93 break, but he's still 3 behind. It's 12-9 to John Higgins. Well, that break there was some shots in that were superb. He did well to win the frame, didn't he, Willie? And then we've seen a little bit of exhibition stuff.
Well, the beauty, we've always talked about Cooper. Now, before we let this go, to force through 4 reds here, that's what he's trying to do. And he has to play it with side to not only force through them, but to get the white away from the cushion. So he's played what we call an exhibition shot here. You just keep an eye on the cue ball here. It's the front red, and then the side and the spin takes hold. And that is just an unbelievable shot. Unbelievable shot.
We can show you it from this angle. Watch Ronnie's body here. He had to put so much effort into that. Don't come any better.
Frame 22. Ronnie O'Sullivan to break.
So this quarter-final continues. John Higgins still needing one more frame for a place in the semi-final. He'll just be hoping that he gets a reasonable chance. May be able to take this pot on. He'll slip round the back of the black and red. Could drop on a bulk colour if he pots it.
Yes, he would start really worrying for the first time. I think he'd have obviously had doubts, having seen what happened this afternoon again with Sean Murphy and Matthew Stevens, but doubts would certainly start to creep in if it got to 12-10.
Can possibly get to the potting angle, one of those reds that are in a little triangle to the left of the bunch. He's looked at it, but he's back looking at the safety shot. Now there is a path past the yellow. Okay, the pink's tied up and it'd be very difficult to get on the black, but he's just off straight. He's coming around to see if there's any possible way he could get onto the black, but there isn't. The only shot he would have if he took the pot on would be to get back up for the blue, and that's not really an option open to him, so it looks like a good safety here. Well, there's a pot to the middle pocket, but the black's not available in either corner pocket at the moment.
Just wondering whether you can screw it off the side cushion and try and get the cue ball in behind the green, but you won't have a lot of idea where the red's going. That's what he's played. Oh, what an effort. What an effort. Same problem. He can, I think, this time actually play it with pace and maybe come up for the blue, because I think he'll come inside the four reds on the left-hand side of them if he gets very close to the pot. He may just be able to drop it in and leave a cut back on the black. That's a possibility. But this will be played very slow if he wants to do that one. Has he gone too high? I think he has.
Yellow ball. John Higgins, 1.
Well, with the yellow being close to the blue, I think Ronnie was still trying to get a bit further up the table, but the way they're situated, it's not all that bad, but John will be trying to get the white near to the baulk cushion off this red. That red going over the right side of the table makes the escape back down a bit difficult. You could quite easily cannon into that. What a pot! That is probably the best pot of the match. Close to the cushion, and the red goes right in the heart of the pocket. He's unlucky not to be better on a colour here.
Wow, what a difference. Just 2 or 3 inches less pace and he would have been able to pot the brown quite easily. I don't think he'll attempt any sort of pot on a colour now. And when you play a shot like that, boy, do you deserve to be on a colour.
There's a little shot here if he just rolls onto the brown and leaves like what we call a Chinese snooker. Yeah, that's as good as playing a snooker there, leaving it awkward. If he can get past the blue to the edge of the red, bridging over the brown makes it a lot more difficult.
The only way, if he does attempt the pot that you can see there, is to play it very, very slow to cannon into red on the cushion, which would leave him on the black. He doesn't appear to be even interested in looking at that one because it's too risky. A little bit of movement there on the other table because they've just come to a mid-session interval, and that's the first poor safety for quite some time from these two players. Is this the chance that John Higgins has been waiting for?
One.
Well, they're not perfectly placed by any means. At least he's got a chance to knock a few in here. Getting the yellow out of the way opens the blue up a little bit more.
Yellow ball. Three.
Well, he can definitely hold for the pink off either one of those two reds, but he doesn't want to leave himself hampered queuing. And the two reds around the black spot are the key balls in this break.
He's not quite happy with the angle here.
Four.
And well, he's on the pink, but there's not many more points available here. He was trying to get on the black there.
Yellow ball. John Higgins, 4.
This is very, very tough. I mean, the two reds that in that cluster of 5 there that he's looking at, if he could rest on either one of those two reds, he would be safe. But how's he going to get there, and how can he play the pace to do so? He may play a hit and hope in a minute because there's no guarantee way of resting on a red. This could be a hit and hope. He's hit, he's hoped, and what's happened? It may have cost him the match.
One.
John can concentrate on the pink here. Black's
Switch it off, please.
not out of commission, but it's near the cushion. Ronnie really was in a terrible position there, and he couldn't see a way out of it and just relied on a bit of good fortune, and you never know where they're going to finish. All he can do is just sit there and hope
7.
that John can make a mistake.
I just wonder what the percentages are, Dennis,
8.
when you play a hit and hope of getting away with it or not. I suppose you probably get away with it maybe 4 times out of 10, and that's what Ronnie was hoping for.
Yeah, the only other thing with that type of shot when you hit it hard like that is that you could fluke a ball. But,
14.
You've got a lot to think about there.
15.
That's been a fantastic standard. O'Sullivan's had 12 breaks over 50 in this match. He's only won 9 frames. Both players are still over the 90% in the pot success rate. They're at the level on the safety exchange. This has been a classic match, and Barford 2 frames that O'Sullivan maybe threw away.
22.
This could have been a classic. It could have been a 13-12, but John Higgins has kept himself together and cleared on a couple of occasions from miles behind. That's the reason he's just one away from replacing his semi-final here at the 888.com World Championship.
$28. $29.
Well, a ripple of applause, but I think the angle he has on the red, he can't do anything else but cannon into the green. He would like to have been high on this red so he could guarantee get in position. He's not guaranteed to get onto a colour from this.
35.
He played that nicely. Knew that the green would squeeze off the red and brown and go towards the corner. So he's one good positional shot away from winning the match now. But if he gets on any one of these 5 reds, I think he'll win the match from here. That's the reason I mentioned if he gets on any of these 5 reds, because it wasn't an easy positional shot.
38.
Now, can he avoid both black and pink in potting this red? That's what he'll need to do to get the cue ball back into balk. $39.
John Higgins, 39.
He had a little bit of margin for error there. He didn't have to nestle on the green to get the snooker. As he left a gap between green and blue, though, and does the red pass the other reds? Well, there's the gap. John anxiously looking behind there. It was difficult, though, to pot it. John Higgins had a terrific run here in the World Championship, all starting back in 1998 when he beat Ken Doherty 18-12, and then he got a semi-final the following year, lost to Mark Williams. Semi-final the year after that, lost to Mark Williams. and then was runner-up to Ronnie the year after that. So he can get through to the red. He needs 2 reds, 2 colours, and it would be the end of this year's World Championship for Ronnie O'Sullivan. And that was pretty close, but he knows he can't make any more mistakes. Could that be his last?
One.
Just depends how far he can run through the pink to leave the bottom one of the 2 reds in the corner. Because if he can see it better than half ball, I fancy him to knock the red in. But if he has to cut it back more than less than half ball, it's a difficult pot. Yes, it's just about a 3/4 ball pot, so you would expect him to pot it, and this is frame and match ball.
7.
That's the one that John Higgins was looking for. Ronnie will be getting ready to come forward to shake the Scots hand. I suppose overall John Higgins has played the better, and Ronnie comes forward and shakes the hand of John Higgins and says to him, well done, and probably saying, I hope you go on and win it. But he has put up a terrific performance, but it was the Scot. He looks delighted. He did all the damage in the afternoon session, winning at 7-1. So John Higgins marches through to the semi-final with a comfortable 13-9 victory in the end.